Hi guys, today we'll be making a wholemeal loaf using the Tangzhong method. So what is Tangzhong? Tangzhong is a Japanese technique where you cook a small percentage of flour and liquid into a thick slurry. So first, cook flour and water over medium heat and keep stirring it until it forms a thick paste like this. So the Tangzhong helps to keep the bread more moist and it will stay fresh and longer for even after 3 to 5 days. So once you cook into a paste like this, remove it from the heat and cover with a cling film. Make sure the cling film is touching the surface of the tangzhong so it doesn't form a skin when you want to use it later. Set it aside. In a mixing bowl, add in bread flour, sugar, salt, instant yeast. Then add in cold milk, 1 egg, and all the tangzhong once it's cool. Make sure the salt and the yeast doesn't touch together. Now use a dough hook and start mixing it. It will take about say 10 to 15 minutes to mix on medium speed. Great. So when you mix in the first few ingredients for maybe 2 minutes, add in the butter and then mix for 10 to 15 minutes. So once it's done, it's actually quite sticky, so to be honest, I'm not really sure if I'm doing this right, but I tried to do a coil fold from when I was learning sourdough. The main point of doing this is to try to create a smoother surface and tuck in all the red dough underneath the dough. So once you get a smooth surface, put it into a bowl and cover with cling film, and you will want to rest it for about 30 to 45 minutes. Now do a flour finger test where you dip finger in flour and you dip it into the dough to see if it's ready. If it's ready, the hole doesn't close back. So scoop it out onto a clean surface and you would divide it into 6 pieces. So we're making 2 loaves. Each loaf has 3 mini rolls. That's why you are making 6 rolls. If it's a little bit sticky, you can dust with very little flour, but try not to add too much. Now after about a 5 minutes table rest, take one of the dough and try to form it into a round shape. So you want it to be a smooth round shape. So turn over the dough, pinch the bottom and turn it back and start using like a spatula and tuck the dough under. So basically you have to do this step for all 6 pieces. Use as minimal flour as possible, because if you use too much flour, you may end up with a thicker crust. And for this type of loaf, you don't really want a thick crust. So try to tuck it as smooth as possible. Once it's all done, you can set them aside and let it rest for about another 10 minutes. So make sure you cover them with a cling wrap or with a towel. Now once it's rested, we are going to shape them. So first flip it over and flatten it with your fingers. Use a rolling pin to roll out into a long rectangular shape. So you want to fold it like a book or like a door. And then you want to make it into a Swiss roll. So start from the top. Using your thumb, roll it inwards while pushing and tucking it under. So you get a tight roll. Make sure to pinch the seams together. And when you put it into the loaf pan, make sure the seams are underneath. Remember to butter the loaf pan prior to doing this. Now let's do it again. So you use your fingers, press and degas the dough, roll it out into a rectangular shape. Fold the top part in and the bottom part up. Then roll it up into a Swiss roll by tucking in inwards using your thumb. So you want it to be as tight as possible so you don't have large holes or large bubbles in your bread later. Remember to pinch the seams and make sure that it is facing downwards when you put it into the bread loaf pan. So each pan would need about 3 pieces. So I did for both pans. One, they are actually like a Pullman loaf. Let it rest and proof for about 35 to 45 minutes. When it is about 80% high of the bread loaf pan, you can brush the top part with milk or with egg wash. Bake for 30 minutes at 190 degrees Celsius. Then you're done. So you must let it cool down before slicing, otherwise you won't get a nice slice. So I left it to cool overnight, and this is the following day. If you're slicing the bread, you could slice as thick or as thin as you want, and make sure to store them in a container or in a Ziploc bag to keep them fresher longer. Now let's eat some breakfast.